It's not going. Oh, hi, everyone.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Coffee Chats. My name is Hannah Morth.
And I'm Elizabeth Modine.
And today we are joined by our new friend, Wendy Liu, and we're going to be talking all about the Akashic Records and whatever else comes up. So hello, Wendy. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hello, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This is really exciting. I've never done anything like this before, so yay!
It's going to be fun, and we're going to be talking about a lot of interesting things. So
Yeah.
Do you want to kick it off a little bit by telling everybody a little bit about yourself and whatever?
Sure. Long story short, I'm a mom. I'm a wife and a mom. I actually have a very kind of eclectic background. I was military for a decade. I actually have my college degree is in opera performance. So I'm a classically trained singer. I'm just kind of all over the place with stuff, and singing is still a huge passion of mine. Hopefully that'll integrate into my spiritual gifts somehow eventually. But about 7.5 years ago, I was thrown off the cliff. A lot of people might resonate with that. I like to say I was abruptly disconnected from the matrix against my will.
No doubt.
And the last 7.5 years have been, right, amen, have been just kind of figuring out who the fuck I am and what I'm doing here. And so, and it's been a really slow healing process. And oddly, my very first gateway to my awakening was essential oils. I really got into oils and holistic healing because my whole family was sick, and I was tired of, watching my kids sick and myself. And so a friend got me into that, and we started to heal physically. And then that just kind of opens the floodgates for the next thing. Then, you get the breadcrumbs after that. And then it was kind of the conspiracy theory world. And I had always been into alien abduction. And I myself, if anybody resonates, I know that I was taken many times as a child. And so that kind of opened that up. And that's a scary thing to work through and to heal, right? To realize that really happened. And then I really kind of fell into the whole spiritual part, and I was like, wait, what's this? Like this, finally something to explain all this stuff that I'd been going through, that I had no foundation. And so I've had a lot of, earth angels, right? Come into my life just at the perfect time. And so 2 years ago, I started taking like Reiki class, and my teacher looked at me and said, you will be teaching one day, you will be, healing. And I was like, stop it. Ridiculous. And here I am. I'm a Reiki master, which I actually have even upgraded. Like, I don't even say Reiki anymore. Reiki was beautiful for 3D, but I've been told that it's time to tap into the next level. And so I just say energy healing now. And I do Akashic Records readings and healings, which for me, again, really quick, I'm trying to get it all, spew it out. I always call it word vomit. I'm like, I just will let it all flow out.
Oh, it's beautiful.
As a kid, I was bullied, and I spent a lot of time in the library. Whenever I could go into the library and hide, I would go. And so I always wanted to be a librarian. And I was having a session with a beautiful mentor of mine. She didn't know any of this about me. And she said, your guides just told me you're a guardian of the Akashic Library. And I'd had no idea what she was talking about. And I was like, yeah. Like, I don't, whatever it was, I was like, yes, please tell me more. Whatever that is, that's what I want to be. And then I have a really dear friend who teaches it. And I was like, okay, I probably need to do her class. And I was learning, and I was like, and again, I'm also a writer. I'm a published author. And so I'm a natural storyteller. And so this modality where you go in and you look at somebody's book of their soul, and you find a life that maybe they, can heal, that will have the domino effect and heal everything that's piled on top of it, and just tell the story of what you're saying. It's absolutely perfect for me. It was like, I cannot believe I just kind of fell into it. And it's just like it was made for me. And so real quick, if people don't know, the Akashic Library is the etheric record of every soul's journey here on Earth. A lot of people believe it's just Earth. I have actually tapped into lives from other planets. However, that there are other libraries, right? Like there's doorways from the Akashic to the other libraries. And so it really doesn't matter how you perceive it. All the information is out there, right? We know that. And so we just like, humans, we like to label things and visualize. And so I visualize, and I always visualize kind of this big ancient, like Harry Potter type library. Yes. When I go into the records, and the books are big and dusty, and my guide in there is Merlin, and he's kind of this big, like, more Gandalf-like presence, but it's Merlin.
Yes.
And so I started doing this about actively probably about 6 months this year, like sometime this year during all this craziness, and still cannot believe that I get to do this, that I kind of fell into this just natural. I'm like, this is my jam.
Yeah.
It's just a really natural thing for me. So, I also do intuitive oil blends. And I actually teach and speak on parenting starseed children. I have 4, and holistic living in general, because we have transformed our entire lives. We were typical McDonald's drive-through, Starbucks, kind of family, and, never taking care of ourselves. And now we like meditate as a family in the evenings. And I mean, it's just unrecognizable, really, the changes that we've made. And so I try to share as much as I can about that. So that's me in a giant nutshell.
That's incredible. What a journey. I love that your entire family is interested in what you do. That's really important.
My oldest still calls me Voodoo Witch Doctor, but I claim that title proudly.
I'll take it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because he'll ask me, okay, Voodoo, what do you have in your Voodoo Witch Doctor kit for this? Because he comes for oils. He'll come to me for oils, and he's in nursing school. So I love that I can teach him both worlds, because they are coming together. They are going to be married at some point, and we're going to get the best from both worlds as our healing, as our healing system. So I love that he's into that, because he, could easily be going a different path. So it's exciting.
And combining all of it. I love that you bring that aspect up, because that is something with moving forward into the future that I'm really excited to experience.
Right.
Is this merging of the medical science and the energetic science, and really like understanding that they both can come together and completely transform the way that we heal our bodies, And so I totally agree. I was talking to my spirit team about that earlier this week, actually, with light therapy. And how I foresee that. And we were I have a light therapy lamp, and we live in Wisconsin. Hannah and I do, friends. And Wendy Lou was saying she lives in Colorado. So you're definitely no stranger to the winter either. And the light is so incredibly important for our bodies. And so I was talking to my team about using light therapy, and just how interesting it is that it makes such a huge impact on my day when I start my day with my light therapy lamp, which is just vitamin D,
Absolutely. Yeah.
And like how interesting and cool it's going to be to see what we can do with light therapy in terms of like surgery and healing the body with different kinds of like high spectrum light is something that spirit was like, this is coming in. And so I love that we bring that up, and that this is coming up in the conversation, because that's totally something that spirit has been talking to me a lot about as well.
Right. It's in the energy. Yeah. And there are light beds, that you can, not tanning beds, people, but light beds. And I was fortunate enough to have a really dear friend who bought one for her chiropractic practice, and I was a guinea pig. So I got to test it out for free. And it was a time where I was newly awakening, right? I don't like to say I'm woke. It's a path, right? We're all awakening. And so I was able to lie in this bed and do a few sessions in the bed. And I'm telling you, 3 times, like for an hour. And I was going through intense anxiety and depression, kind of on the wave. And I just felt amazing. It was a huge quantum leap for me. Just these 3 sessions. I've never been back, although I would love to, but they're hard to find still, but I know that it's going to be a huge part of the new healing system. Yeah. Once we start to realize, and a lot of doctors are coming around to that, right? They're starting to realize that, hey, this, there's something to this energy stuff, because, thoughts are energy, and people are healing themselves literally with thoughts, with mindset, with changing the way they think about their body. And, when I first started on this journey too, I kept hearing the message, it's time to let go of everything you think you know about how the body works and heals. Everything. Because it's so different from what we've been taught to believe. Yeah.
That's like totally the message that I'm getting too, is that we are going to look back at this time, and not that medical science isn't like fucking incredible. Like, I mean,
a lot of validity there. Yeah. We need a lot of it. A lot of it can go, but we need a lot of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And how we're going to be looking back at this time and seeing it from a very different perspective of, we've come so far from being, they kept saying invasive, was the word that they used.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
I just got chills when you said that.
And so that was what Spirit kept saying. And that's why they were talking about the light therapy, because they were saying that we're going to come into a time when light is utilized so much more strongly for healing, like tumors. Like we're talking like really intense, big aspects of our bodies that we have had to like go in and do really invasive procedures to get rid of. That's going to be something that's really coming in.
Absolutely. And when you heal them that way too, what's exciting about it too is they don't even realize how huge that is really initially, because when you can heal the body in a natural way like that, using what God and Gaia have given us, then that allows you to open up and heal that emotional trauma that is causing it in the first place. When we mask it, right, with medication, and I'm saying a lot of medications are great. If they help you, fabulous. Please take them. You know, I am all for that. But, you know, medication a lot of times just masks it and then masks that emotional trauma as well. And you can't get to the root. That's why you can't heal. That's why we can't completely heal. But it's funny that you say that too. As soon as you said invasive, I was already thinking about, I don't know if you guys are Star Trek fans.
Yes.
Do you like Star Trek at all? So my oldest is Riker and my youngest is McCoy. So we're a little bit Trekkie. We're a little bit Trekkie. But the original, and whenever we watch like the original show, my little one's always like, that's me. Yeah, that's you. Bones. We tried to get Bones to stick. It just didn't, but that's okay. He's McCoy. But so there's a line in one of the movies where they come in the fourth movie of the old crew, right? Where they come into the 80s. I don't know if you remember that one where they go into the past and it's 84 or whatever. That's my favorite one. And somebody gets hurt and they're going to do surgery in the operating room. And McCoy comes in and he says, "You're cutting him open? That's barbaric." Like he couldn't believe the cutting. And so when you said we're going to look back and think, wow, like how did we not get this sooner? But at the same time, hopefully we'll be like, okay, thank God, like we're here now. It all happened for a reason. But when you were saying that, I was like, it totally makes me think of that scene because it sticks with me. It has stuck with me for years, you know, that I'm like, we will get there. And, you know, they just use vibration and energy and light as well in that show. And, you know, they say Gene Roddenberry was very awakened. He knew things, and that those shows have so much disclosure about where we're headed.
Oh, I so agree with that, because I feel like in so many ways that it gets implemented in a way that our psyche can handle. Absolutely. And so like there'll be little seeds that are planted for all of us to see, so that when disclosure comes in the way that it does, and like these little pops, you know, that we're not going to go completely like, because if we had no preconceived notion of these things, it would be hard to kind of accept and download in a way that was healthy.
Right. They say it would be like trying to bring a caveman onto a spaceship, right? There just would be no way for him to fathom it because he has no way to connect the dots. So it has to be the breadcrumb. You know, we use breadcrumbing as a negative thing a lot of times, but it has to be that way for this evolution to really stick. We can't just jump right into it. We would not be able to process it.
Yeah.
Right. So unfortunately, right, this darn linear time.
No doubt. Yeah. We'd all like to. We'd like to have it like right now, right?
Yeah. Like yesterday. Yesterday would be great. I'd like my wings now, please. That's what I always tell them. Archangel Michael is like a constant guide for me. He's right here. He's always right here. And I'm always like, I'd like my wings now, please. And he always is whispering in my ear, like, you have them. I don't know what you're hilarious, but you already have them. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but we forget, right? Because I like to say he picked me up and threw me off the cliff, right? 7.5 years ago, which was not long after, you know, the December 2012 was supposed to be the big Ascension event. And we weren't ready. And so they put it on hold, right? And it was May of 2013 when I kind of started feeling a little odd before that, right? But it was May of 2013 where I really started to feel weird, like not me, and things started to fall apart. And then August is when I was thrown off the cliff. And I like to say he threw me off the cliff and I've hit all the pointy rocks all the way down while he's yelling at the top, "You have wings, idiot."
Wake up. Oh my God.
Like watching me hit the rocks.
Just remember,
all of us. I mean, how like all
Yeah.
of us go through that where it's like, let's just, and Hannah and I like to, there's this like meme online or like this like graphic online where you have like the person that's on the hand and then the like God or the universe source is flicking you off and you can't see that down here there's a landing pad for you. Yeah. But that's totally how it was with us too, is Hannah and I had like found our spot in the world and like created essentially the life that we had wanted for ourselves. And we've been best friends since the 3rd grade, Wendy. And so
that's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah. It's been a journey.
It's been a journey.
It's been a journey with us.
I bet.
Yeah. And so we woke up in like 2017 together. And it was the same thing where it was this rigmarole of like, all right, how do we figure out how to navigate on this path that does not have directions or any kind of instructions manual, because it's not necessarily taken seriously yet. Even though now I say that 2020, it is completely different than when we woke up.
Yes.
Like, right. It's everywhere now. It can't be ignored anymore.
Well, and waking up in, like you said, 2012, Wendy, like what resources did you have? Because we're there literally, we're there. So how did you get into it? Sorry.
The people, I mean, like I said, there were people who kind of showed up in my life. Like, thank God for me. And again, I'm not bashing the medical system at all, but for me, I went the holistic route when I started to have severe anxiety. And that was at the, you know, recommendation of the same friend who got me into essential oils. And I love her and we're still very much in touch. And she's now on this huge awakening journey too, which is beautiful. She's kind of in the conspiracy theory part right now. I feel like we all have to kind of work through the processes. And so, she said, and I had confided in her. I said, look, this is what's going on. And she said, go to this gal who's a naturopath in town. She knew this gal in town. And so I went to her and I consider her my earth angel because she saved my life. Like she literally, thank God I went that route, because she got me more into, she really opened my eyes to the real pure, the magic of essential oils. Like people think they just smell nice. And, you know, they laugh at, you know, all these moms and wives sell essential oils and it's, you know, it's a cute thing like Pampered Chef, right? Oh, isn't that adorable? Yeah. She sells oils. It's so much more than that. I have healed. We were all on allergy medicine 7 years ago. Not one medication is in my house anymore.
Wow.
I healed my son they told us my now 20-year-old would have asthma and all this, and with chiropractic care and, you know, changing our diet, but essential oils as well. He's healthy as a horse. He's the healthiest young man you'd ever seen. He was on 2 inhalers at one point in his life. Nothing. He's on nothing. So oils along with other changes, right? But oils are a huge part of this puzzle. They're not for everybody, you know, not everybody needs them. Like I would say, you don't need, like we drink raw milk. You don't need raw milk in your life to go through this journey. But for us, that was one of our breadcrumbs. And so, yeah, the right people just kind of fell into place and it was just onesie twosies. And it's, you know, like, is it not fucking lonely enough? Like when I first, and now at least I have this whole community building and several communities building that I can kind of peek in and out, you know, and be a part of. And back then it was just nothing. And it was a lot of people, like I said, I kind of went into the conspiracy theory world and the alien abduction world. And when you're in a high state of anxiety because you've completely lost your entire foundation on this earth, that is not the easiest transition to work through because that comes with so much fear. And I remember asking her, this one, the naturopath, and I said, she was telling me all about, you know, there's this darkness that has been ruling the world. And we're now, you know, shining the light on that. She used more harsh words, but I have come, you know, I've moved past that kind of, you know, that duality and that kind of hatred and resentment about it. But she would say, you know, this darkness is ruling the world. And I said, but why? Like I just kept asking, why would humans do this to other humans? Why? It makes no sense. And so you have to work on yourself. First of all, it was a lot of the self-talk that I worked on that was so hard. Let me tell you, everything I've done, I think that maybe was the hardest thing was to re-record my subconscious tape running through my head. Because at one point I had, as a starseed, right, being born a starseed, we come in shining so bright that we're either people are drawn to us or they hate us, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why I was bullied. And so I had at one point weighed 260 pounds trying to dampen my light, not realizing that's what I was doing, right? But food was, I said, I think I was telling you before we hit record, but I've never drank, I've never smoked, I've never done drugs, I've never done any of these things. My drug was food. My vice was food, and I hid, in food and hid in this fat suit, literally for a very long time. And so just starting to shed that and it was this, like everything fell apart at the same time. So then you're like, okay, my body is crashing. I just found out that the people running the world hate us. I mean, it was like this awful, like, what the hell? Yeah. And so I was bedridden for a while. I was, my husband thought I was dying. We had no idea what was happening. And I refused to go to the doctor. I just knew that if I got a pill for it, it was not the right path for me. Mm-hmm. I knew that I had to really dig in and just let myself be cracked open. And I remember at the very beginning too, even before I was able to get out of bed, I was hearing voices and I was hearing my guides coming in saying, because I was begging to die. That's, I think a lot of people maybe can resonate with that. I was just please, just take me. I cannot exist like this. And the voice that I heard said, you're not done yet. And we're going to show you a new way. It's going to get better, I promise. And I would say, but this is too hard. This is too hard. And they're like, just hang on. And we're here with you. And so I started to hear my guides, which was, again, initially I was like, the hell, like everything at once just kind of came on me. And, we choose that. However, we've gone through it, we chose it. And so I tell people now, I tell all my clients, I'm not telling you this to scare you, saying that you're going to have to go through this too. I'm telling you this because I chose this path so that I can turn around and make it easier for you. I will not let you, suffer the way I did, because it's not necessary. There's a reason that those of us, if you're familiar with Dolores Cannon and the 3 waves, I very deeply resonate with first wave. I just turned 50 on Friday, on Christmas Day.
Happy birthday, Wendy.
Thank you. And so I'm in that age group, but I also, when I read about it, I'm like, oh man, that's definitely me. Like, even though I've only been on the journey for about 7 years, I just totally resonate with being way out. Like, I totally feel like I get these visuals all the time that sometimes I get too far ahead, right? When my guides are like, they'll put up a wall. They're like, okay. And I'm like, why am I hitting a wall? And Michael will say, because you're trying to run and everybody else is crawling. Like, you've got to turn around and wait for them to catch up a little bit. And I'm like, oh, but let's just do this. Can we just go? So it's hard not to sprint once you figure it out, right? It's hard not to, okay, I see Mecca. I see it. Can we just get there already? No, we got to go through the swamp and we got to go through the jungle. It's like Princess Bride, right? We got to go experience the RUSs.
Yeah.
No kidding.
We got to do all that. The lightning sand or whatever they call it. We got to go through it all.
You're a big fan of that movie, aren't you, B?
I do love that movie.
I was going to say, Hannah loves
Oh my
that
goodness.
movie.
Carrie always, baby.
Good one.
Wendy, thank you so much for sharing that with us. That was incredibly powerful and very vulnerable and so appreciated.
Yeah, I'm ready to share my story, right? And all its rawness. So it's, there's nothing stopping this now. This is on autopilot. We're doing it. We've already flipped the coin. And so why keep it, right? Like, I'm just ready to put it all out there. And, my kids, it was hard for my husband too on my journey. Like, I was very good at hiding my pain, as a lot of us are, right? And first waivers, I do this presentation where I talk about first waivers. One of the things we're really good at, we became masters of hiding, of covering everything up and just pretending everything's okay. And not coming to the point where you don't automatically instinctively do that anymore is huge.
Oh, it's got
where I can automatically go, like, I'm telling people in the grocery store, oh yeah, I've been suicidal and blah, blah, blah. And they're just like, who are you? And I'm like, I'm just not, I'm going to make a t-shirt that says feeling suicidal today. I've been there. Like, that's what it's going to say. Yeah. So, because we just need to be able to relate, right? To relate to people who are just coming into this awakening and feeling so lost. We're here. We're here for you, you guys. We're here. We're holding you. We're ready to help in whatever way we can. There's so many of us.
Well, so, and that's a conversation that I feel like needs to happen so much more than it does. It's interesting that you're bringing this up, Wendy Lou, because I noticed that within my parents, where there is such a generational, and it's more than generational, our friends, like we all go through this in different ways. But it, the people that like were raised by individuals that like grew up like and were like born 19, 20, 30, 40, those parents, like my mom is in her 50s, like she's like 55.
Okay, yeah.
I think, I don't know, Mom, if you're watching this, I'm sorry if I got that wrong. But
it was probably like 65.
Did you say yours is?
Yeah, mine is 64. Yours is
Oh.
probably around there.
Yeah, no, my mom is 55-ish and my dad is like 56, 57. But when they were born, it's like this perpetuated cycle of don't like be a crybaby. Don't like, you know, don't cry when you lose. Like, don't show emotions when you're feeling.
Don't cry when you're hurt. When you physically get hurt. What's the first thing we do? I don't know if you guys have kids, but the first thing we do, shh.
Yeah.
And I learned by my third, thank God, by my third, my older two, I always say I'm always apologizing to them because they didn't get the best of me, right? And my younger two are getting like this fucking magical goddess now. And I'm like, sorry, guys. Sorry. But, you know, with my third, I started, you know, I realized it at some point when he was born. And I started just going, let it out, baby. Just scream it, yell it. I don't shush anymore. And then I had a fourth. And so he really got kind of this, you know, this kind of newly, he got a totally different mom than my other three did. Because I was like, that's right, cry. That's right, cry. I'm like, when they fall and skin their knee and the first thing we do is shh. Yeah, definitely.
Dude, that hurts.
And my parents, interestingly, my parents are incredibly young. My mom is just 69 and I'm 50 and I have an older brother. So, you know, that time, you know, back when they got married right out of high school or before, wink, wink. So, and that generation, definitely. My mom is on the awakening journey and she, you know, she considers me a guide, although I'm like, dude, we're like each other's teachers. Like everybody is just each other's teachers.
Yeah.
You know, the time of the guru is done.
Yes.
And yes, these newly awakened people are probably going to put us on pedestals for a little bit, but it's not, you know, our job is not to perpetuate that, right? We just want for them to get like Jesus.
Yes.
Seriously, I love me some Yeshua. I love Yeshua. And he said, how many times you will do everything I do and more. Yes. And they kept that in the Bible for a reason, because that's the big, if you get nothing else from that, aside from love is the gold, right? The golden rule is love one another. You know, is we are as magical as him. And he kept saying, and more, because he had that humble, you know, that humbleness about him and that beautiful energy. But yeah, that was another one of my gateways was the whole Jesus and Mary Magdalene thing. So I could totally come back and talk about that. I've been to the south of France. I've seen paintings of the two of them with her with a pregnant belly that are 2,000 years old. I mean, I'm telling you, there's evidence everywhere.
Oh my gosh,
and they were twin flames, right? If you're familiar with that term, they were divine twins. And yeah, right. Me too. Jesus is a very great, he's coming strong for a lot of people right now, for divine masculine, especially, and not just for men, for women to help us bring that divine masculine. You know, we have been squashed for so long. Don't act, don't, you know, you're just here to have babies and, oh yeah, keep the home, whatever. And I know that's, you know, people, feminists would say, oh, we broke out of that a long time ago. No, we didn't really, did we? Oh, dude, there was kind of a militant version of it that went the total opposite way. And they kind of tried to become men in a way. Yeah. And so I never really fully supported that because I knew that wasn't the right way either. And I'm like, okay, I get it. You want your freedom, but there is this beautiful way to do it. And we're learning it's balancing that masculine and feminine, embracing womanhood. If you want to, you know, if I have a lot of friends who are like, my mission is to be home and raise my kids. I'm like, beautiful, then do that and throw everything you have into that. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, it's the freedom of fluidity. It really is. I feel like that's like one of the terms going forward is like the freedom to choose, like whatever the fuck you want to embrace. Go for it. Like, absolutely. Try it out. Like be the student and like screw up, fall on your butt, and then figure out what you want along the way. Cause that is like, what we like, don't we want to be doing that besides? you know, like, don't we want to be experimenting and like having fun and stop living so fucking rigidly?
Yeah.
Because it sucks.
And you don't know if something's not for you unless you try it a little bit. Like, you know,
So
that's
true.
So true.
so important. You can't, like the whole, you can't, you know, until you walk a mile and somebody else should try it, for God's sake, you know. And we're all like, I always think of snowflakes. There's a reason that's no two are alike. That's a message for us. None of us are exactly like another.
Yeah.
And, you know, we have a saying in our, you know, in our woo-woo world, right? That however, there are as many ways to ascend as there are souls on this planet. Everyone is doing it in their own unique way.
So true.
And we cannot be judgment of someone else's journey, ever.
Yeah, I mean, you
And
can.
so if you are, that's reflecting on you.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Sure, we can. And that shows us something that you healed, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no
And that's
doubt.
coming up really strong too right now, is kind of judgment of within, I've noticed within the Lightworker collective community, there's a lot of judgment going on right now. And we're all healing this, right? Like we're all getting up to the next level right now. It's beautiful. And so, and what's funny is what I see, and I've been guilty, totally guilty. But what happens is, like, especially on social media, like, right, you see a post, you're like, oh, she's being so judgmental. So you feel the need to respect. Guess what? You're judging her, her journey right back at her. So it's a very important mirror, I think, too.
Totally.
Because they're like, oh, well, stop judging people. And I'm like, are you judging people who judge people? Like, it's definitely a crazy, vicious circle.
Yeah. I was going to say, Hannah and I say all the time.
Just step back.
It's very sneaky. The way it shows up is like super sneaky. It's like the mirror perspective.
Isn't it? It's like ninja.
It totally is like
ninja mirrors.
Like a black cat.
I love that, ninja mirrors.
Oh,
yeah,
well, this
it
has been
definitely
fabulous.
is.
Sorry, I keep talking over you.
Yeah, very good.
Like
no. I think we have a little delay, so it's all good.
Okay, it's
all good.
Keeps happening.
No worries.
Wendy Lou, why don't you tell our audience a little bit more about how they can stay in touch with you? We are definitely having her back on, you guys, because as you can see,
love
Wendy
to.
is badass. You're the jam. We could talk to you about,
see my wings.
Yeah, like check me out.
Everybody, spread your wings.
Yeah.
We could talk about lots of things. And you know, it would be fun, because I know she's watching. Have Eartha and I on together. Because we,
oh my gosh,
we have a dream. Fun. We have a dream of being like a comedy team in the Lightworker world, because we talk about like our comedy routines. And
hell yeah, that would be great.
So definitely, we would love to come on together. So yeah, I can tell you a little bit about. So I actually have a website, and it's called Intuitive Oil Blends, but all my energy services are on there as well. And even a link to my YouTube channel, which is called Parenting Through Ascension, which I've had for a couple of years, which I've been sharing just my journey, being a starseed, having 4 starseeds, and what we can do. I share everything on there, not just parenting, but there's a masterclass on there I did recently, where I think a lot of, you know, and of course it's not me, right? It's all being channeled, but a lot of wisdom came through on how we can help them really step into their paths and live their paths. And really it's more about leaving them alone than helicopter parenting, right? We've got to back away and let them do their thing. And so I do a lot of, I do the Akashic Records readings and healings, and I do energy healing, and I do just fun, you know, we were playing with cards before we started, but I do oracle card readings as well. And so, and I can do those live on, you know, through Zoom or whatever, or a lot of times I'll just do them on my own time, record them and send the link. So you don't even have to be, if you're nervous about being interactive, then I can just do a reading. And I've even done energy healings and Akashic readings that way for people who are, you know, don't really know what it is and are a little scared about it. That's totally understandable, because it's all of these things, even just getting an oracle card reading is a healing session. And so everything is healing. And so, so I have on my website, I have my services, and I have, I have a lot of stock blends on there, like that I intuitively have channeled, and I Reiki all of them. And so I've got blends for anxiety. I've got blends for sleep. I've got blends for, you know, tuning in. I've got blends for, you know, being at work and having to give a speech and that kind of thing. And so, and I do a custom one. If you have a specific need, I will channel a custom blend for you and mail it to you. And it comes with a reading, with a card reading.
Wow.
So all of those. So I kind of I have a friend who calls it my magical smoothie. I kind of
no doubt
have started bringing everything in. My sessions now are kind of a little bit of everything. I'll do cards. We'll go into the records. We'll do some energy healing. It's become this, my magical smoothie. So that's what I do. Yeah. And it's beautiful. And I am loving it. And I'm here. And the beautiful thing about energy healing is it can be done via internet, right? We don't have to be in person. So wherever, I have clients in England, I have clients in Portugal. So wherever you are in the world, feel free to contact me. So, and all my contact info is in the website. And I am Wendy Lou on Facebook. So if you want to be my friend, just send me a message that you saw me on Coffee Chat. And that way I know. Because we all get the bots and we all get
we all get the creeps.
We all get the creeps
slinking on.
That the minute you accept the friend request, you get the message, you have a beautiful smile. Block.
Yeah, like block. You're very mesmerizing.
You're so pretty. Bye-bye.
No doubt. I've gotten into the habit of literally, like, on my Facebook profile now, I just have everything profile picture wise private, so you can't even like them anymore. And I have felt
that's like, a good idea.
It's just my Capricorn moon is like,
I'm a Capricorn sun.
Oh my God, I love you, Wendy. Yeah, duh.
Yeah.
Like, of course.
Yeah.
You
Christmas
guys are like
Day,
my favorite. Oh yeah, you said that. I didn't even
that makes so much sense. Yeah, we're both Capricorn moons, and so we definitely understand Capricorn well.
Awesome. Yeah. Very cool.
Cool. Yeah, cool is right. Awesome. This was great. Thank you so much for coming on.
Very fun. Thank you so much. I was so excited, and this has been wonderful. I would definitely come back. Yeah, absolutely. We can just chat about anything. Seriously. We can pull some cards. I can even, if you're interested too, I can even do a small, like I can walk people through cord cutting. I do a really quick cord cutting. I can even do a quick little intro into the records where you meet a guide. That's like a 5-minute thing. We can even do that live through this.
Would love to do that.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, we'll collaborate with you. We'll send you some emails.
Sounds good.
All right.
Sounds good, ladies. Thank you so much. I love this show.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right, Bea, I think you have the off button, don't you?
I do. So we are headed out, but we'll have all the links to Wendy Lou's socials and how you can connect further with her. But thank you so much for watching or listening to this episode, and we will see you next time.
Bye.